What's going on, people? Thanks for choosing Total Payout Podcast and chilling with your boy Trouble. Today's day, March 21st, 2026. Let's go ahead and handicap the games we got today. We got three games on deck today. We got Cleveland versus New Orleans. We got the Clippers versus Dallas Mavericks, and we got the Lakers versus Orlando. Now, the first game we're gonna handicap is the Lakers versus Orlando second meeting. February 24th was the first meeting home game for the Lakers. Orlando plus 6.5. Orlando money line actually came through 110, 109 and went under the total of 229 by a hook. Now, the last 10 games head to head, the Lakers are 6-10 straight up. Orlando's 5-4-1 against the spread, and the totals are even 5-5. Now the Lakers are 8-0 against the spread last 8, super hot right now. 0-6 against the spread last 6 versus Orlando, but they're 1-4 last 5 straight up versus Orlando. Now Orlando actually was hot before their recent slide. They're 7-3 straight up last 10, 4-1 straight up last 5 at home, and they're 8-3 last 11 straight up at home versus the Western Conference. Now my line in this game is Lakers -1, total about 229, 230. I'm gonna go ahead and take Orlando +3 in this game. Um, I've been rolling with Orlando, man. I think on the road something wrong with them. They're not balling. They've been fumbling the bag in Atlanta. Then they went to Charlotte, fumbled the bag. At home against OKC, they played well. They played tough. I mean, to me, they had a chance to win that game. They're missing piece. Franz probably would have took them over the top. I think the Lakers are hot. The Lakers are hot, man. But eventually they got to run against that wall. You know what I mean? And I'm just calling it this game +3. Give me Orlando plus that 3. I put a little juice on the money line as well, but I'm gonna stamp Orlando +3 in this game on this Saturday. Now the second game we're gonna handicap is gonna be the Cleveland Cavaliers versus New Orleans Pelicans. Second game of the year that they played against each other. Obviously East and West game, so it's a final meeting. December 23rd was the first meeting, home game for Cleveland. -9.5 came through. Cleveland put a shellacking on New Orleans, 141-118 over the total of 248. A very high total set, and they cleared it, so it's crazy. Last 10, Cleveland is 7-3 straight up last 10 head to head, 7-3 against the spread last 10 head to head, and the over is 6-3-1 last 10 head to head. Now Cleveland is 1-4 against the spread last 5, 14-6 straight up last 20, and 7-1 straight up last 8 versus New Orleans. New Orleans 8-0 against the spread last 8, 5-1 straight up last 6, and they're 7-0 against the spread last 7 at home. So New Orleans been balling, they're hot right now. So if you're paying attention, they've been doing their thing. You're making a lot of money with them. Now my personal line on this, Cleveland -3, total around 234 to 236, somewhere around there. I think New Orleans is getting a 5.5 right now. If you've been paying attention, I've been fading Cleveland without Jared Allen against certain teams. Any team that plays in the paint, any team that dominates the paint, I'm going against them because they're not very big. Without Jared Allen, it's crucial. And if you're watching, he's essential to their success. As far as the pick and roll goes, getting the boards, playing necessarily just in the paint whatsoever, and then he gives Evan Mobley the opportunity to be able to pick, go to the outside. If that roll's not there, he's the person catching that pop for the 3 or at the elbow. That's Evan Mobley's game. And without Jared Allen, Evan Mobley basically has to play Jared Allen's game. And it's not that he can't, but he's guarding the other player's biggest guy, picking up unnecessary fouls. And so a lot of teams are dominating the paint against Cleveland. And when you go on 2s versus 3s, those 2s are easier to hit versus those 3s. Cleveland are hitting just enough 3s to win, but they're not covering these big old spreads. I'm not saying 5.5 is a big spread, but New Orleans is balling. And I can't pass that up at home against Cleveland without Jared Allen. Now, if Jared Allen does suit up, gonna be a different story. I probably would take New Orleans plus 5.5 still, because he's probably gonna be on a minute restriction. But it'll be a different ball game. My confidence won't be super high. But without Jared Allen, I'm super high on New Orleans plus 5.5 at home. Now, the third and final game we're gonna handicap is the Los Angeles Clippers versus Dallas Mavericks. This is their third meeting. First meeting happened November 14th, home game for Dallas. Clippers came through -3, won on the money line in overtime, 133-127, over the total of 220. The second meeting was November 29th, home game for the Clippers. Dallas +9, Dallas on the money line, 114-110, over the total of 223. Now head to head, 5-5 straight up last 10, 5-5 against the spread last 10, and the over is 6-4 last 10. Now the Clippers profile, they're 1-4 against the spread last 5. 1-4 straight up last 5, but they're 4-2 straight up last 6 versus Dallas. And Dallas's profile is horrible. 2-6 against the spread last 8, and they're 2-11 straight up last 13. Now, if you've been paying attention, About a couple weeks ago, I was trying to fade the Clippers. I say about the first couple weeks of this month. They had a brutal schedule. I think the first 9 or 10 days they had like 6, 7 games. First 10 days they had 2 back-to-backs. It was crazy. They're in that same scenario. This their 13th game in 21 days. They just got off a back-to-back, which would be their third back-to-back this month. So pretty much they've had 7 days worth of rest this entire month. I mean, that's crazy. In the NBA world, we got to travel, and it's crazy. I mean, they get paid a lot of money, but a lot of wear and tear. So we once again on the fade Clippers watch. They have started losing, so I was probably like a couple games too early on the fade because I think it caught up to them. Kawhi sat out last game. I know Ben Mathurin's hurt, so that's a gun off the bench. Um, Dallas is not the greatest team, not the greatest confidence to cover. But I just think at home getting 7 in the hook. Last time they beat Cleveland on the money line was a get back game for Cleveland blowing them out by 30. So it showed me that they have some pride. That's what we asking for tonight. Pride. That's it. Just give us some pride and just hang in there and not get blown out by a team. We hope maybe Kawhi might sit again. Ben Mathurin's out. They got a couple players over there, but the Clippers not scary without James Harden, Paul George. They're just not scary anymore. And Kawhi, Kawhi's Kawhi, man. He just basically cashing the check right now. That's it. So we trying to do. That's all he's doing to me at this point. So go ahead and give me Dallas plus 7.5 at home. I'm taking that. I have confidence in it, but like I said, if Kawhi plays, it's gonna be tough. But I still think Dallas can cover that. My personal line got the Clippers -1, 228. So gotta go ahead and take that, man. So let's go ahead and recap the picks that we got today. We got 3 picks. We got New Orleans at home getting plus 5.5 over the Cavs. We got the Orlando Magic plus 3 at home over the Lakers. And we got Dallas Mavericks at home plus 7.5 over the Clippers. So we're going home cooking today. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Total Payout Podcast and chilling with your host Trouble. Today's date, March 21st, 2026. Like I said, we're going to cash that check. Great Saturday. You got a lot going on. March Madness. Got hockey. Got some boxing. So after we go ahead and cash these tickets, go ahead and chill out and watch the rest of the night. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a blessed day. Please give me a like, comment, and subscribe at the end of this video. I want to thank you. Have a good one.
A heavyweight, they be light work. Change my lane on these niggas and it might work.